You are having fun. You are having a glass of wine after work. What's wrong with that?
Each drink, any amount of alcohol you consume, your brain created a cemetery of brain cells.
Mondays after Sundays, Taco Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday, Thirsty Thursday.
Yeah. The brain and the body will say, "What do you mean no stop?"
We've been doing this for all this time.
Yeah.
Don't be silly. We don't notice until it becomes a bigger issue.
Like successful people know this secret. Because residual stress, it's
a big thing.
You.
Hi, my beautiful people. I am your skin therapist, Kate, and this is my podcast, Get Under My Skin. Listen, guys, I received such an amazing feedback from all of you about one of my latest episodes with phenomenal mental health specialist Inna Popko. I could not ignore it, so we decided to create a series of episodes opening up the different topics of mental health. Welcome, Inna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me
again. Yes, it was such a pleasure talking to you before, and I'm so happy that we can sit down and talk more about it.
Sure.
I feel like that's such a important, different topics that a lot of people are interested in, and not a lot talk about it. So today, how about we touch base on substances and substance abuse in general? I think it's so common in our society to normalize certain things that we a lot of time miss that part or the tipping point when it becomes from more like social drinking, drug use, maybe even medical drug use until it turns into something more than having fun. How do you feel like when this line, when it's being crossed, how to recognize that? And let's talk about that.
Yeah, definitely. It's a very important topic. Thank you for mentioning it. And as you said, it's kind of normalized in our modern society. And using substances, it's actually very popular among people, human beings. I think substances like alcohol is ancient. It's been here all the times.
Mm-hmm.
And historically, people used to celebrate holidays with alcohol. And
they still are.
Yeah.
Very much so.
And like we said, we drink, we happy, we drink. And it's all advertised on television, everywhere. So it might seem very normal and actually appropriate, but we forget about our body and how it affects our body. Actually, our brain is affected by alcohol very severely.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I like to say all the time about the brain, and every time it's shocking, and a lot of people like want to disagree with me and start like conversation. No, it cannot be true. So after I say, you know what, after each drink, any amount of alcohol you consume, your brain created a cemetery of brain cells.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like shocking. Like, what do you mean? Just only one drink? But our brain cells, they are actually not used to alcohol or any other substances. Right now I'm talking a cemetery of brain cells. It's after alcohol consumption. And this cemetery doesn't go anywhere. Like our kidney have a way to eliminate
Like
toxins
detoxify.
from our body, but brain does not have this option. So everything that created in the brain stays in the brain. So if those brain cells die, they stay there.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, we do have a tendency. Our brain can reproduce new cells. That's a good news. That's a good news. But still, those dead cells just stay there, and it's actually a lot of research showing how harmful it's for our brain. How many illnesses can appear just from
You
recreational
know,
using of
a little
alcohol.
occasion drink or this, I call the relaxation after work drink
Yeah.
that's like very commonly used. And that's probably like one of the things that triggers me the most. And when people are like, oh, I'm just so tired, just can't wait to get home and have this glass of wine or have a glass of, just one occasional whiskey and the rocks. But occasional becomes every other day,
Yeah.
every day, then from one to two, from two to three. Uh, I personally haven't grew up in, being exposed to it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is the big part of me that I couldn't understand because I was never exposed to it and I didn't know when is a problem. You talk to people, it's so normalized, and you kind of start drinking yourself. Yeah, like you are having fun, you are having a glass of wine after work. What's wrong with that? But tell me, like when you should notice when it becomes a problem, because a lot of times I feel like as a person that is not exposed or not working like you are with people like this, to me in my head it was consistently like, well, you wake up and drink or go to work and drink, that's you have a problem.
Well,
But
definitely there's a problem.
but I feel like that's a really severe problem, but other options weren't as highlighted for me, and that was the confusing when I did face that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sure. Thank you for mentioning it. To be honest, like when we growing up, when we become teenagers, it's kind of normal for humans to be curious and explore new things, and that's usually the time when we introduced to substances or like alcohol or any other mood altering substance. And you know, it's okay to try, I would say, if you need to, but depending why you're doing it, because the term of addiction or a problem, it's accumulating thing. It's not happening overnight. Like problems do not happen overnight, just out of nothing. And from your example, talking about waiting until come home from work and have a glass of wine or whatever glass of what what you prefer.
the glass or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming from work, it's already like it's adulthood. It's not teenagehood already. And the question is why you need to have something to relax. Why you cannot relax in different way. You either have no other knowledges how to relax and healthy, or anything else going on. Maybe you cannot cope with some other problems. Because I personally think that substance use disorder, any substance abuse, it's pretty much symptom of something else, some other problems going on. And when your body cannot cope, when it's overwhelmed, it's seeking easy ways. It's looking for something that's available, because like mental health is not very popular. It's stigmatized, unfortunately. It's not popular to ask for help. It's not popular to look for some education. We know that there is alcohol or substances that can help. We know that, oh, wow, I drink, I feel fine. I feel relaxed. I feel like I can socialize. I like people like me, and I like
That one.
I'm
That one.
very nice
That
friend.
one. Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
and unfortunately, if nobody taught you how to socialize with people without any other substances, how to use your skills, communicational skills, if you do not have those skills, then you're gonna use alcohol. It's easy way. It's
Right.
easy, right? You meeting with new people. What to do? Everyone is anxious. It's normal to experience some anxiety in uncertainties in new situation, meeting new people. That's kind of normal to feel a little bit out of place. But the person who have a good regulational like who can regulate yourself themselves good, they can cope with it, and they can use whatever like knowledges to talk about some movies or
Have this like opening line, pretty much.
yeah.
I feel like the biggest thing is to, that's what actually helped me, is that always remember everybody's insecure.
Yeah.
Everybody's insecure. Everybody's anxious. Even people that do this all the time, they still experience those feelings. It's just how you learn to kind of push it through, you know, have the opening line or maybe a joke, whatever you feel comfortable with. And just remembering that other person most likely feel the same.
Yeah,
You know?
like it.
Yeah.
I always use the same analogy. I will tell my clients, it's a lot of it's like who have social anxiety.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? We all humans. Just remember, there are no robots. There are no aliens in the room. Everyone experience emotion and feelings, and just remembering it helps. Like, okay, we're all humans. That's fine.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Real good, real fine. But yeah, I completely agree with you. That's the crossing that line when it becomes in your head, not as, okay, maybe, you know, it's a holiday or whatever it is, I can have a drink here. But when it becomes in the mindset, I need this to relax, to be more social, to be more open, or whatever is to be, that then it's when it's an issue at this point.
And answering fully your question, when it becomes a problem, like clinically, when we diagnosing any problem will become something that becomes dysfunctional in your life. If you look at different areas of your life, and if one or in many areas of your life you have problems because of substance use, that's a signal for maybe you have a disorder. I mean, like areas of life, like work, health, relationships, and if you do have a high blood pressure and your doctor say, you know what, you need to cut down your drinking, that's a big sign. If your spouse complaining and you're drinking, saying, you know what, when you are a little tipsy or drunk, I don't feel comfortable around you, that's a big sign. If you missing the work,
Right. I mean, that's
because-
already like a
Yeah.
red flag.
and a lot of people will say, well, I still go to work, that's fine, but let's look at those days when you go to work after
how you perform.
after
yeah.
you were drinking a night before. How do you feel? How do you
Exactly.
perform? Are you 100% performing today?
We're just kind of existing there.
Yeah. So that's also counts. So, and also I like this questionnaire, very simple, and I would like to share it with everyone. So I think it's helpful. It's just only 4 questions, very easy. Answer those questions. Do you want me to share it?
Please.
Yeah.
Always.
So this questionnaire task called CAGE. K for cutting down, A, annoying, G, guilt, and E, eye opener. So answer this question first. C, cutting down. Have you ever thought or felt like you need to cut down your drinking?
Mm-hmm.
Second, have you ever felt annoyed by friends or anyone else or criticizing your drinking? Three, guilt. Have you ever felt guilty after you were drinking? And the fourth question is eye opener. Have you ever drunk first thing in the morning in order to deal with your nervous system or coping with hangover?
Mm-hmm.
And if you answered yes for two
Two.
or more questions, that might be a sign that you need to get assessment for possible substance use disorder. And unfortunately, many people will answer yes.
Sadly. And I think some of them are being so overlooked. I mean, when it comes down to, let's say, like recreational drugs, right? That's kind of more often we can see, okay, that's kind of a problem. Maybe you're doing it too often. Then there is also subcategory of, let's say, alcohol and maybe medical drugs, so the prescription drugs. That's something I've learned on my own experience is a huge issue too, because well, technically, doctor prescribed that to me, but then you see people are taking it for longer than they should have been. And then when one doctor says no, they go to another doctor and try to get the same prescription and continue taking it. And then becomes from like weeks to months to years. And, it's not being very questioned because, well, I have a prescription from the doctor, right? And people don't look at it in that way. Same thing with the alcohol is more, again, there's just so many people. Well, it's Friday. How me and my friend actually make a joke, Mondays after Sundays, Taco Tuesday, Wacky Wednesday, Thursday, Thursday.
Yeah.
And it's funny, but actually a reality for so many different people. And I feel like this is just being overlooked a lot. And then we don't notice until it becomes a bigger issue. And then we kind of start looking back and seeing what did we miss. What do you think some people feel like more prone than others for addiction? What's the reason behind that?
Yeah, definitely. So we all have genetic factors and social. And genetically, sometimes we can be predisposed to addictions, substance use more. Some people more predisposed to it than others. Definitely, if there is some history of substance abuse in the family, then you'll be predisposed to have this problem also. But not necessarily 100%. Like certain environmental conditions need to be right for that. If you in a supportive environment, if in a less stress environment, then should be okay. But if something happens, something traumatic, something very stressful, or you're surrounded by toxic environments, so-called very fashionable word right now,
Right.
toxic, yeah, then you might turn to using drugs or alcohol or any other substances just because your body remembers that, like our body remembers
I felt
everything.
better when I did that.
Yeah. Also trauma, if you have trauma history, that's another big risk for substance use increasing in your life.
To cope with the pain.
Yes, to cope.
Is there
I
just a
would say
flashback?
substance use it's all coping, because if you analyze your life, and if you write down like a diary or journaling, you'll see like what events happening in your life, and if you associated like how much you were drinking or using at that time, and you can see the picture when at the times you were happy and everything was nice in your life, you probably did not use much substances because you were not that stressed after work and you didn't feel like you need to have a glass of something.
Right.
And definitely a social factor is huge, and it's like 50-50 genetics and social. Depends on the conditions, what conditions you are at, and then your body's just gonna cope. If you have anxiety, depression, and what if you don't know about it? Actually, so many people goes undiagnosed, and we do have a functional depression. People think that depression is something that when you lay down and you cannot
And you
stand
don't leave
up.
the house. Yeah. And
Yeah,
it's like,
but
it's
no.
extreme. It's always extreme. And that's what I'm saying. Like, even addictions, we always think about the extremes. You know, depression, always extremes. Any sort of abuse, it's extreme. Before that, we don't see that much. You know, we don't, it gets unnoticed.
You know what dangerous about addiction? That it's a progressive disease. That's what's the dangerosity of it, because we do not see it. We start from a little, like one glass or one occasion, and then we do not process the issue, and then it just accumulates and the body gets tolerance. Like there is a tolerance, you can tolerate more. Another sign of a possible problem, look how much you can drink at one occasion. You know, it's like people who have no problem with using drugs or alcohol, they simply, their body cannot tolerate a lot. Like you can't drink more than one or two glasses if you
If you're
sorry,
not,
if you do not have a tolerance.
100%.
But tolerance develops in years. And imagine your brain used to certain behavior or pattern and doing it for years. And then when it becomes obvious that I have a problem, good luck to tell your brain, now stop.
Now, let's not do this.
Now stop, right?
Exactly.
Your brain and the body will say, what do you mean now stop?
We've been doing this for all this time.
Yeah.
Don't be silly.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Absolutely. I can completely agree to this, you know.
And you know what was also important? I'm just trying not to lose my thought.
Yeah.
That's why in relationships, it's very difficult to catch it. You meet a perfect guy or a perfect girl. Everyone is in love. That's okay to like drink on occasions or anything. But in the beginning, you will not even notice. And the person who already has a problem also have a very good way of hiding it. He or she want to impress you.
Of course, they want to put the best picture out of there.
He will not get drunk or wasted in front of you.
Correct.
Like suddenly, right away. Why would I do this?
Exactly.
If I want to be with you,
exactly.
Right? Time gonna pass, and during that time, you already involved. You might already have kids from this guy.
Ah, that hits the spot so hard. You know, we'll talk more about this, I think, in our next episode in depth, because I have so many things to say about it. But right now, just come back a little bit to genetics. And you've mentioned how it does play a huge role in it. And for that reason, again, didn't grow up in it, being at least exposed to it. I do know maybe like some side of my family does run, and did have issues in it, but again, I wasn't personally exposed to it. And for that reason, with my experiences in life and how I kind of had this harsh experience of addiction, not personal, but living with the person in it. Now I am even afraid to have a glass of wine when my kids are around. It's rule in my house that I don't drink at home, and there is a different reasons for it. A, as you already mentioned, it's the trauma, the response. I don't want to cope with any sort of substances to deal with my emotions. And my life goes through a lot of ups and downs, high stress, high cortisol, high anxiety, and there's some days that you feel drained. But the last thing I want is for myself, because I've been there when I'm like, oh, I just feel so tired. Let me maybe just one glass, just just to do this to kind of ease it out. That's the last thing I want. I wanted to kind of filter through. I don't want my kids to see me turning into the glass. Yes, I can talk to them and say, hey, mom is not feeling good. I had a hard day. But instead of going for that glass and them seeing it, that it's okay to cope with your emotions by doing this. I put the boxing bag. I said, if you have high emotions, you can kick it. but how important it is to not only have this genetic, you can have genetic exposure to it, but also we're the ones who making choices on how to
yes, be the ones who are
them.
making choices. And as you said, the kids. So we do make choices, and if I do have a skills to deal with stress, then I have broader choice.
Right.
If you have kids that you teach them, like, because as a parents, who else gonna, like, it's the responsibility of the parent to teach by example, right?
Right.
If your kids know that, okay, I'm sad, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna process this emotion? Not to avoid, but process it. How I'm gonna deal with my feelings and emotions. And then I have choices. I'll do breathing exercise. I go like swim or do some sports, or I sing or I play music, or I go to shower, or like I do some arts. It's like a lot of things you can do. Yes, they are more probably time
Consuming that you need
than just
correct.
but they also more pleasurable. They give you a pleasure for a longest period of time. And if you grow up in those settings, then you kind of learn a strategy how to deal with your own emotions, because we do have emotions and our kids need to know it, that that's okay to be sad. We cannot avoid this. That's okay to be angry. We cannot avoid it. It's what we do with it, how we process in it. To say like, oh no, the alcohol or substances do not exist, we're not doing it. You cannot. The kid gonna grow up, and it's there.
It's there. Exactly.
You want to try everything, and what's the most sweetest forbidden fruit, right? And
100%.
then and then self-esteem. It's a big factor, because social pressure, that's very common thing that can drag you into substance use behavior. Social pressure. How can you handle a social pressure? How do you see yourself in life? how do you see yourself in the world? What do you think about yourself? So it's a huge factor. I will say self-esteem, self-confidence. It's also a huge factor. We all have a lot of kind of genes and predisposition to anything, to everything. And it doesn't mean that we're gonna be sick on all of those illnesses just because we have those genes. No, we do have those genes, and it is a purpose. We need all of those memories. We need all of those genes for some kind of purpose that we can use them sometimes. Like substances were created for helping people. It's not all bad. Like all
Right.
those medications, look at their life longevity. We live longer right now because we have substances, because surgeon can operate, because we have painkillers, because we have like
Antibiotics. We have like so many different options.
Yeah.
High
And
blood pressure. I mean,
right,
the all of these issues that we might have. Obviously, it's 100% it is.
So
But one interesting question: do you think that society actually secretly more profits from this than actually trying to curb it?
of course, that's a huge profit.
Yeah.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
the most profitable thing? Drugs.
It's like we try to cure it. We want it to help, but do they really?
I mean, they do help a lot, but what's not helping is that not enough psychoeducation, mental health awareness, that people know that people have choices. And plus, you mentioned about the doctor prescribing the prescription. That's fine. That's the doctor's job. But our jobs are also to educate ourselves and to follow up with appointments.
Right.
Doctor probably telling you, I'm prescribing you this for 3 weeks, 3 months, and then go follow up with psychotherapist. Go do this and this and this and that, and come to see me. So that's our job to follow through all of it.
It's always 50%, 50-50 job,
Don't put everything on doctors who prescribe.
Oh, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. I mean, anything in life, in my industry, in medical industry, I mean, in any industry itself, it's always 50-50.
Yeah.
No, you can only do as a professional so much. And you have responsibility as a consumer too. You have to follow up. You have to follow the instructions. Or maybe if they said, don't take longer than that, then don't, instead of looking for another provider, right? Or do the physical therapy, or do focus on the mental health. Exactly, psychotherapy. But yeah, 100%. What do you think about why high pressure jobs, celebrities, anything that has more power in their society are more like pre-exposed, I guess, or maybe have high chances to develop addictions?
Because of residual stress. That's a simple answer. Because residual stress, some jobs are more stressful in terms of a lot of responsibilities. Celebrities, show business, it's beautiful, but it's tremendous job. Everyone wants to be a star. Not everyone knows how hard you have to work. And it's a constant pressure. That's why I have different kind of clients, and I do have clients who are CEOs, who are managing like huge businesses, a lot of pressure. And the ones who are more successful, they understood long time ago for themselves that their mental health, that's the only thing that that's the main thing they have to protect in order to be productive and successful. And because like I learn a lot from my clients. Like one of my clients told me once, like, I have to invest in my mental health because a lot of people depend on me. I have a lot of employees, they depend on me. They depend on this paycheck. I have to go there, take a rest. I need to go vacation. I need to literally do psychotherapy, retreats, like travels, whatever makes me feel good and rested so I can perform better. Like successful people know this secret because residual stress it's what's
It's a
gonna
big
kill
thing.
you.
It's a big thing. It's a big thing. I agree to that. Well, thank you so much, Ina. It was a pleasure as
Thank you.
always. And thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, follow Ina and me on the Instagram and click the dingly thing. I'll see you later. Bye bye.